Michael shake is that man's hand. Union High School commencement ceremony. I think they're doing it out. Very pleased that you could join us to celebrate this amazing group of young adults. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you to please silence your cell phones so that all can celebrate the accomplishment of our graduate.
What's up, dude? How you doing? I'm still alive. Exactly.
And helping us to sing the national anthem. Choke.
Choke. Well, we can't see.
See by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Dude, you should have like a power metal vocalist too. Like, dude, that'd be so sick. That'd be legit. Yeah.
Good. Jeremy? Girlfriend Monica? She died.
Well, again, welcome. We are very pleased to have you here today. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge our special guests participating in the ceremony. Joining me in honoring our graduates today are Superintendent Dr. Paul Turnbull. Members of the Board of Education, Mr. Bruce Porter, Mrs. Chris Burtness, Mr. Mark Owens, Kyle Abella, and Mr. Jerry Swan. Thank you all for being here today. 27 years ago, I stood before the class of 1985, delivering a commencement speech to my fellow graduates. As I prepared my remarks for this afternoon, I thought about the advice I gave my peers back then. While I didn't think to save a copy of that speech for my scrapbook, I imagined that I gave a very traditional graduation
because they don't
address.
actually film it themselves for whatever
Looking
reason.
back, I'm sure that my remarks then were innocent and naive. In many ways, the world was a different place back then, and in some ways, the world itself was more innocent and naive. Simpler, perhaps, than it is now. In 1985, cell phones were rare, personal computers were in their infancy, cars did not parallel park themselves, and books and newspapers were printed on paper. At least we had color film. With all of the changes the world has seen in the last almost 3 decades, I doubt very much that what I had to say to the class of 1985 would apply to the class of 2012. Graduates, your world and the opportunities before you barely resemble those I faced as a new high school graduate. As you have learned during your time here at SYHS, some of the jobs you will be doing in a few years haven't even been invented yet. And the tools you will use to do them are inconceivable to us today. You will need to adapt quickly to stay competitive in the future. Doing so will require you to rely daily on the 21st century skills you have learned at SYHS Valley Union High School.
Photoshop.
What I don't want to do today is to give you the traditional speech like the one I gave the class of 1985. One of those "your whole future is ahead of you, so go forth and prosper" addresses. After all, you don't need me to tell you that your future's ahead of you, and isn't prosperity a goal you've already set for yourselves anyway? Truth be told, I know very well that most of you are sitting there thinking to yourselves, I wish Mr. Swanes would stop talking already. I just want my diploma, my moment on the stage. The real fact is, though, that you probably wouldn't take any advice I would give you in a graduation address anyway. I know I didn't. Having someone supposedly older and wiser try to teach you how to avoid the same mistakes he or she made, while well-intentioned, rarely works. You are on the verge of adulthood. Your parents have spent the last 18 years imparting their wisdom to you, and that, coupled with your high school education, has prepared you for whatever the future may hold. The person you have to listen to now is yourself. In October 2011, the world lost a visionary who did not shy away from the task of reforming the world to be radically different from the world in which he grew up.
Where?
He revolutionized the personal computer, the music, the film, and the cell phone industry, just to name a few of the places he left his fingerprints.
That's terrible.
By now, most of you recognize that I'm talking about Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Computers.
He died.
Steve built the first Apple computer in his garage, and you can bet that there were a lot of older and wiser people telling him to stop wasting his time tinkering. In a commencement address at Stanford University a number of years ago, Jobs said this about following your own path.
Do it.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. That makes sense to me, and I hope it does for you. There really is no substitute for life but living. You've reached adulthood. We have done all we can to prepare you for the future. Now the work shifts to you. After today, you must make your own choices, follow your own heart, live your own lives. So, there you are, sitting and waiting for me to give up the podium so that you can come up here and get what you've been working so hard for the last 13 years.
Depends how long.
Before I sit down, however, I need to take a few minutes to brag about you, to everyone sitting around here. Family and friends who have known you far longer than I have, and who have supported you in everything leading up to your journey today. The class of 2012. What makes you distinctive in my mind is your quiet presence. You don't call attention to yourselves individually, but collectively, most of you don't. But collectively, you have accomplished so much. You are a group of individuals who have come together to form a better whole. You have led SYHS High School to successes in every arena. Your special talents and leadership have continued the traditions which utterly define what it means to be a pirate. You have left an indelible imprint on your school. SYHS High is a better place as you leave it than it was when you arrived 4 years ago. And about a school as good as this one, that's really an accomplishment. The class of 2012 knows what it means to be pirates. Pirates, at least SYHS Valley Union High School pirates, are honorable, ethical, hardworking, diverse, and accepting, not to mention scholarly, fun-loving, socially aware. You have done well by those who have come before you. Some of them your own parents and grandparents, and many of whom are sitting
Natalie!
You have set the bar high. Our school is truly a better place because of you. Considering that I started my remarks this afternoon by saying I knew that you didn't want to listen to a long speech from your older and wiser principal, I've certainly taken up plenty of time. With this senior class, it's hard to know exactly where to stop. As a class, you have so many accomplishments and have made all of us so proud. I'm tempted to stand up here and brag about you all day, but I won't. Instead, I will wish you simply all the very best luck and ask that you keep in touch with us so that we can celebrate your future accomplishments with you. Remember that you are pirates always. Congratulations, graduates.
Good job. Oh boy.
Seated before you are the members of the San Ynez Valley Union High School class of 2012. Counted among their numbers are 60 students who are graduating with highest honors, which means that they have a total weighted grade point average of 4.0 or better. In recognition of that accomplishment, these graduates today are wearing gold skulls over their robes. Their names are listed in your programs. At this point, I would like to ask these students to stand and receive your applause.
Take it in. Take it all in. Yeah. All right. That's like half of all the students.
Woohoo, Audrey! She's doing class.
4.0. Average. I wish I could listen. We got the Vuvuzelas.
This graduation ceremony is about the students, and this afternoon we are privileged to have 4 student commencement speakers. I would like to welcome our first student speaker, Megan Savage, to the podium. Megan?